Um, my name is Lonnie Bordloy-Pazic, and I'm so happy to be here at the University of Campinas and to be in Brazil. I've been here since February, and I'm having the time of my life. I actually just finished my PhD at New York University in the United States. My focus is on higher and post-secondary education. And for my dissertation, I actually looked at the influence of financial aid policy on success in college for low-income students. In 2011, I came to Unicamp as part of a group of students studying Brazilian higher education, and I got to know about the ProFIS program on this trip, and I became very interested in it. So I decided to apply for a fellowship that's offered through the United States State Department. It's called the Fulbright Fellowship. I wanted to use the fellowship to come to Brazil, and I wanted to use the fellowship to study the ProFIS program. So I was very lucky. I got the fellowship, and I was so happy that I had a chance to come to Brazil and explore the country and get to know Brazilians, and also have a chance to understand how ProFIS works and how it's promoting the success of students in the program. So I'm very happy to be here. I feel very fortunate. I've met some wonderful colleagues. I've made some wonderful friends. And I'm having a great time.
Eu sou David, tenho 24 anos. Sim, aqui no Brasil eu sei que 24 anos é a idade da escola. Mas enfim, eu já fiz a minha escola faz tempo. Eu sou da engenharia da computação. Faz 2 anos que estou no Brasil, desde o 6 de maio de 2002. Estou fazendo duplo diploma aqui e vou ser formado no final desse semestre em agosto. Estou aqui com o convênio que a minha faculdade francesa tem com na verdade, a minha escola de engenharia tem com a Unicamp. E ainda não sei o que eu vou fazer. Se vou fazer um mestrado aqui na Unicamp, se vou voltar na França, ou se vou para São Francisco, um lugar que gostei muito. Que, de verdade que a Unicamp tem uma tão boa reputação que consegui fazer um TCC com o Facebook. Então em fevereiro desse ano eu fiquei 2 semanas em São Francisco, todo pagado pela Facebook.
Mi nombre es Julián Acuña, soy alumno de doctorado de tercero año de doctorado en estadística de aquí del Instituto de Matemáticas y Estadística de la Unicamp. Y ya estoy aquí ya hace 2 años y medio. Y pues agradezco aquí la oportunidad de ser, incluso ser extranjero y también de haber sido profesor del ProFIS. Entonces agradezco mucho la oportunidad de estar acá.
I'm from Haiti. I am here to study. I'm studying the Faculty of Education Faculty. I am on the 3rd grade of pedagogy. Yeah, that's all.
I think the ProFIS program I think it's a wonderful innovation for both encouraging access to an elite university like Unicamp, as well as introducing curricular innovation in Brazilian higher education. I think it's very powerful that this is a program that recruits public high school graduates from all over the city of Campinas and exposes them to the benefits of a general education. I think that students are in a better position to determine what it is that they wish to study once they finish ProFIS and enter the university's undergraduate programs, because they've had exposure to lots of different subject areas and they can see both what they're interested in and what they think they'll be good at.
Então, o ProFIS eu acho uma ideia muito boa de tentar melhorar o acesso para os estudantes do ensino público, para acesso de grandes faculdades como a Unicamp ou a USP, se a USP teria esse sistema.
O ProFIS creo que es un programa que ele ayuda mucho a aquellos estudiantes que son de escuelas públicas. Es otra forma alternativa de poder ellos conseguir una vaga para que puedan estudiar o hacer sus estudios superiores. Creo que es un programa que cada año intenta cubrir más las expectativas de alumnos de escuelas públicas, y creo que es un programa muy aceptable y que en la medida del tiempo va mejorando.
That ProFIS is a very interesting program for the public student in the high school in Brazil. It's a way to help the students from the public school to get a place in Unicamp and the university.
I definitely agree that ProFIS provides access to public high school graduates to the university. The program is exclusively for the graduates of public high school students, and I think it's very good that the students who are benefiting from ProFIS are only from public high school graduates. I'm sure there are public high school graduates who come to the university through other ways, for example through the vestibular, but I think it's great that the ProFIS program is exclusively focused on this group of students.
É um pouquinho complicada essa pergunta porque tenho o problema das turmas, que não tenho tanta pessoa do ensino público que acessa nas turmas do ProFIS. Mas a ideia, para mim, é assim, consegue atingir o objetivo.
El programa ProFIS, sí, yo creo que sí cumple con el objetivo principal de poder capturar estudiantes de escuelas públicas en la cual son reconocidos con una vaga. Creo que eso ayuda mucho e incentiva mucho en un sistema de educación como que tiene Brasil, y creo que sí, la verdad, satisface todas las expectativas y las metas que tiene trazadas para tal programa, para tal fin.
My opinion, I think that the ProFIS help so much, help very student to get a place on the Unicamp, because the Unicamp is very difficult to get a place. It's better for them, for you too, because I don't think if you don't get a good education, it will be easy to you to get a place in Unicamp.
In my opinion, no. And the reason why is because ProFIS students are still required to take the NM exam in order to be admitted to the program. They're still taking a national standardized test, like many other Brazilian students. The students who come in through the vestibular, they often also take the NM. They're taking the same test. So even though their mode of entry may be a different exam, the vestibular, they're still taking the NM just like the ProFIS students. And at the end of the day, I mean, the test, I mean, you often can't get away from a test, like some kind of entrance requirement. ProFIS has NM, the vestibular students are using the vestibular. everyone is taking a test and doing well on it and showing that they belong at the university.
Então, sobre isso, eu acho que não. Ao contrário, as pessoas devem ficar ali nisso, mas vai precisar mais de estudar para acessar nas vagas. Além disso, a faculdade ela mesma está crescendo. Então, eu acho que as vagas que teoricamente seriam roubadas pela ProFIS são vagas que teriam aparecido 1 ou 2 anos depois. Porque, como você está vendo, os prédios estão crescendo em qualquer lugar da Unicamp. A Unicamp compra uma fazenda, está querendo expandir bem rápido. Então eu acho que não nesse sentido mesmo, de que rouba as pessoas do vestibular, fica sempre com não veria essa coisa como roubar.
Creo que aquellos alumnos que están en el ProFIS o el programa no en sí no afecta aquel proceso y aquellos estudiantes que hacen vestibular, porque la verdad el estudiante ProFIS tiene que esforzarse, tiene que estudiar, tiene que dedicar tiempo, así como los estudiantes del vestibular, ellos tienen que dedicar su tiempo para preparar sus pruebas. Creo que el estudiante de ProFIS también tiene incluso mérito también, y creo que no afecta de ningún modo. Antes creo que ayuda mucho.
I don't think that the ProFIS affect the meritocracy of the student who do the vestibular. I think the ProFIS help the students who from the public school to get a place, to get because they are student like the student who from the particular. They have the same right to get a place in the university. But the ProFIS help them to get this place. It's a way more easier. This easier way to get a place is the justice. It's not the meritocracy. It don't affect the meritocracy.
I think that's a very provocative question, a very good question. Well, I'll talk about the United States first. As far as ProFIS as a mode of affirmative action goes, depending on the state you're in the United States, I mean, affirmative action can be banned, it can be permitted, it depends. But the reason why there wouldn't necessarily be a program like ProFIS is that when it comes to access for public high school graduates, that's not a problem in the U.S. Most college entrants are public high school graduates because of how both the secondary system and the higher education system is set up. In terms of having access to the ProFIS general education curriculum, that's also the standard undergraduate curriculum in the United States, where most students take 2 years of general education, and then they move on to 2 years of upper level coursework for their particular major or focus of study. So those two aspects of the ProFIS program wouldn't make sense in the American context because they're already there. But the idea about focusing on a group of students who historically haven't had access to higher education, American-style affirmative action, tends to focus on race and ethnicity. It tends to look at, when making admissions decisions, trying to make sure that students who are African American and Latino and Asian and Native American are getting access to the university. And I think the extent to which this actually happens in reality depends on the institution and it depends on the state. For example, in California, there can be no consideration of race in the admissions process. But the university has found other ways to ensure that students, especially Black and Latino students, are getting access to the university by, for example, going to the high schools, encouraging students from these backgrounds to apply, telling them how they can prepare themselves to be ready for college. There are things that the university does that isn't necessarily using race as a factor in admissions, but is trying to make sure that students are applying and are prepared and are competitive for admission. So that's sort of one way in which affirmative action can be done in a place like California. As far as the potential of a program like ProFIS in India, now I actually think this is a very interesting question. India is very similar to Brazil in terms of how its higher education is structured. The very elite institutions in India, the very elite universities and colleges, their enrollments are entirely dominated by the graduates of private high schools who tend to be more privileged and more affluent. There also is no tradition of general education in India. The way undergraduate programs are organized is very similar to Brazil. For example, if you wish to study medicine, you start when you're 18 and all you study, it's whatever the medical course is for 5 or 6 years. If you want to do engineering, it's the same story. If you want to do economics, it's the same story. You'll do courses for econ, but you won't be doing courses, for example, for literature. So both the focus on ensuring that public high school graduates are being recruited to the university and offering students general education, both of those would be very new and very unique in India. So I definitely think that a program like ProFIS would have a lot of potential in Indian higher education. I think it would be very innovative on both of those counts. And I also think that it would be a little bit more practical to try to do ProFIS in India, because it's similar to Brazil in that when it comes to university admissions, it's just one test. The United States is different. They use a more holistic admissions process where the test can be optional. They look at your high school grades, they look at your extracurricular activities, sometimes they do interviews. They try to look at the whole package of the student, and but in India and in Brazil, people just care about how you perform on the entrance exam. So in some ways, it's simpler how you recruit students, and the ProFIS program takes advantage of that simplicity, and that can be very easily adapted in a place like India as well.
Então, é pouquinho. Eu acho que não daria tanto certo, porque segundo as três, como pode dizer, a definição da République française, que é égalité, fraternité, liberté, égalité, fraternité. Então deve ter a igualdade entre todas as pessoas por exemplo, francês. Então, se você dá avantage para a pessoa, tem o sistema das bolsas, que está tentando de cobrir mais pessoas que têm bolsa que pessoas que não têm. Mas o acesso à faculdade, por exemplo, uma grande faculdade como a Unicamp, deveria ser o mesmo acesso para todos. Não tem um sistema de cotas, não teria um sistema como o ProFIS. Pode ter a faculdade que vai fazer cursinho como o curso exato da Unicamp para cursinho público para as pessoas tentar o vestibular da Unicamp. Mas não teria sentido de dar uma vantagem para a pessoa que sai do ensino público. E a segunda coisa é que o ensino público não tem problema lá na França, dá certo. Então, por exemplo, eu fiz tudo o ensino no público e consegui uma grande faculdade sem problema. E só uma pessoa que precisa de trabalhar, estudar bastante, fazer um trabalho certinho e vai dar certo.
Siendo extranjero, creo que este programa de ProFIS él podría encajar muy bien en nuestro sistema de educación superior, dado que en mi país el sistema de educación está basado en el puntaje de una nota, de una prueba a nivel nacional, y solamente a través de ese proceso es admitido un estudiante en una universidad del estado. Creo que el programa sería muy bien aceptado y daría más oportunidades a aquellos estudiantes, sobre todo de las regiones alejadas de la capital, sobre todo. Creo que sería una muy buena oportunidad y ellos podrían acceder, tendrían más probabilidad de acceder a un cupo, una vaga en cualquier universidad del estado. Creo que sería una buena opción y sería bueno experimentar para ver resultados en un futuro. Creo que sí daría buenos resultados.